Hello, good morning. I would like to introduce James Zheng Yu Ming. He's from Huawei. He's a senior 5G solutions expert. He has experience of having worked in Saudi Arabia. Currently, he's based out of China. And Mr. James will be presenting at this session of AI, logistics, and mobility. After his presentation, he would like to show you all a video. And after that, we can ask question and answers to him. So thank you, James, and thank you, audience, for being a part of this. This video will also be available on our social media. So for those who could not make it, can watch it. So over to you, James. Please introduce yourself. Tell the audience a little more about yourself, and then you can start the presentation. The floor is yours.
Okay, thank you. Can I start to share my desktop?
Yes, can you try now? Yeah.
Can you see now?
Yes, we can see it, yeah.
Okay, I will start. Hi, good morning, everyone. My name is James. The Chinese name is Zheng Yu Ming. I'm from Huawei 5G to B Task Force. Previously, I have been working in Middle East, namely Saudi Arabia, for around 4 years. My past experience are from cloud, core network, and 5G. And now, when I come back from Saudi Arabia, come back to China, I've been working in 5G. And then recently, from 2 years ago, I've been engaging in the to B domain. Today, I'm honored to be invited to join the COMEX AI for Logistics and Mobility session. My topic is about smart port and how 5G smart solutions can help smart port. I will introduce some use cases. Before my presentation, let us watch a video. Wait a moment. Okay, I will show the video now.
Today, we're going to take a look at the 5G smart port. This is Ma Wen Port in Shenzhen. Massive cranes, 40 meters in the sky. It's not easy getting to work. And here we are, right at the top of the crane. Behind me you can see the crane room. This is where the operator sits. Now usually there's 3 or 4 of them working in 8-hour shifts. This is where the crane operators now work. Take a look at these screens over here. You'll see video views from all the cameras on the crane delivered over this 5G network. With 5G, the job for these port workers is emphatically changed from a blue-collar job to a white-collar one. Ma Wan Port handles about 3 million containers every year. That's about 10,000 every day. This is a trailer that transports the containers around the port site. Now, we can see the trailer doesn't actually have a driver. Yes, these trucks are completely unmanned and they drive themselves around the site. There's not even a cabin on top for a driver. Instead, they have 360-degree cameras, various sensors, and a radar on top to help with positioning, along with a 5G antenna. All of this controlled completely over 5G. This ensures the efficiency of operation and also the safety of the site, all completed over the 5G network here at the port. We're now under the port bridges where a tallyman traditionally would be working, counting the containers and their contents going in and out. It's also a very risky environment. Now the people are gone and the cranes in the quay have a pair of intelligent eyes. With 5G, these clerks can bid farewell to the wind and rain forever. All it takes is a screen and a few clicks of the mouse and the process is complete. The 5G port, truly a bright light in the digital transformation of all industries.
Okay, interesting. That's the video I showed is just one of the leading 5G transforming leading smart port in China, namely Ma1 Smart Port, which is located in Shenzhen, where Huawei HQ was located. Such impressive use cases, how 5G makes it works. I will introduce you. Here is a full picture of what 5G smart port is composed of. Namely, we have from the ship and the cargo arrive to the cargo customs clearance. We have all the end-to-end traffic flow. Namely, we have 4 use cases. Firstly is a smart tele. Smart tele is that we have the bridge crane that automatically lifts all the cargo from the ship to the port. And secondly, we will have an AGV, automatic guided vehicle, that will transfer the cargo into the port yard with an automatic terminal truck. And thirdly is the RTG Remote Control. RTG is a rubber tire gantry. This RTG Remote Control will automatically lift the terminal truck cargoes into the port yard. And finally, with the video surveillance technology, we can have all the smart port to be video monitored and with intelligence. Let us see the use cases one by one. Firstly, I will introduce about RTG Remote Control, which is the most important and most experienced 5G use cases for 5G smart port. As you can see, also introduced in the video, that in a typical rubber tire gantry crane, that you can have the height is around 30 meters. Traditionally, the workers, they need to climb up to 30 meters to the control room. They need to climb like this almost 3 to 4 times a day. And when arrived at the control room, they don't have the time and are not allowed to get down. So for the drinking and food is a very difficult task. And also we can see that the crane, each control room can only seat 1 worker, and the 1 worker can only control 1 container. So the efficiency is very low. And we can see also that for the working environment, especially in the Middle East, it's very hot. We can see that the workers working in a very harsh, very high temperature and with humidity, the environment is very challenging. Also, we can see that the workers, they're working in the port yard. So all these are heavy machines. The security risk is also high. And also, there's one small fact you can see that in the video. Here, you can see that the traditional crane, we are using fiber. The fiber, because the rubber tire crane, they are moving. So the fiber, they need to have a very long. So it's not easy for the crane to move around the port. So we are using 5G technology to solve this problem. We have summarized that the crane remote control, these use cases, technical requirements for 5G, such as remote control flow, the bandwidths need to be high, and the latency need to be very low. Also, we need a very high reliability, such as 5.9. Also, we have some video cameras that are located in the crane. The bandwidth, especially for uplink, is also very high. So this typical of technical requirements can only be solved by 5G technology. Let's see the solution. This solution picture shows an end-to-end 5G network that used in the remote control architecture. I'm not going to talk about the detailed technology about the network. Let's see especially the terminal side. For example, the RTG. We will see that for control, we have the programmable logical controller that will make the remote control feasible. Also, we have the camera that for each crane, we have 18 cameras available mounted on the crane. After we deploy the 5G solution for the remote control use cases, we will see the value. Traditionally, we can see that 1 worker can only control 1 crane. But using remote rubber tire gantry control, the worker, they're working in the remote control room. So 1 worker can control 4 cranes. So the efficiency is greatly increased. By this, also we can see that traditionally, we need 3 workers, 3 shifts by 24 hours, namely each worker by 8 hours, they are shifting. So the cost is very high and the efficiency is very low. Now we can change that. Also for security, then the worker no need to work in the crane on site. They just need in the office. So security risk is 0. This is value of the remote control. Secondly, let us see the smart tele use cases. For traditional tele use cases, we can see that the worker, they need to work on the deck of the ship to count the cargo and the goods, each terminal by terminal. So just for example, the Mawan ports, we named that around 3 million TEU, standard terminal 20-inch units, was shifted every year. Also, namely 10,000 terminals per day. That is huge risk, huge work for workers that counting manually. So the efficiency is very high, is very low. And the working environment, you can see that the workers, they are just working, they posted outside the air. It's a very harsh environment. And then also by manually operation for the counting the goods. So the faults is inevitable, and the data without a good IT system cannot be traced. And another problem is for the people, so for workers, they are working beside the equipment, so the security risk is high. Similarly, we use 5G technology to solve this problem. So here is also the solution. We'll see the terminal side also. For the onshore gantry crane network, we see especially the camera side. Sorry. See, here is the animation of how it works. We can see that this is the onshore gantry crane. You can see that in the middle of the crane, we have all the cameras mounted. Where cameras mounted to see the top of the terminal of the cargo. We can also have the cameras to see the side and the front, and also back of the cargo to see exactly the cargo number, the goods plate number, all the digital information available. Also, besides the middle of the crane, we can see that in the top of the crane, we have a panorama video camera available. This panorama video will monitor all the cargo's information and also the port information, and with AI intelligence enabled. And in the system side, we can see that we have a smart tele system that can automatically calculate and make the tally of the cargo and the goods with all the information transferred from the 5G enabled cameras and PLC controller. Let us see the value of the smart tally. From the traditional tally, it is, I just said, is by manually or traditional Wi-Fi based or a special spectrum that is non-standardized. When we transfer to 5G enabled smart tallies, we can see that the benefits. Firstly, 5G is more stable and the reliability is very good because 5G can have a full coverage of the port yard. Secondly, for cost saving, we can also see the cost and the environment is improving, the working intensity and the environment. Also for security, the security risk is greatly decreased. And finally, because AI was enabled in the video surveillance, it is enabled with the intelligent identification. So the recognition accuracy for the cargo goods are increased by almost 95%. Thus, will greatly increase the efficiency of the port tally and efficiency. Thirdly, let us see the AGV use cases. AGV is the automatic guided vehicle. Traditionally, one terminal truck, we need one worker that driving alongside the port yard. Now, with 5G enabled communication technology, we can have the two scenarios. First is traditional truck will use automatic driving technologies to remodeling to make it into 5G enabled automatic driving. And also for new scenario, we will directly deploy the new AGVs. So for the solution, for the terminal side, we can see that for all the trucks, for AGV, whether it's AGV or automatic ATT, which is autonomous terminal truck, we will use 5G terminal to reconstructing the terminals. At initial stage, we use 5G standalone CPE that are mounted beside AGV. By the as long as the 5G technology is more mature, now we can use the mature 5G models that directly mounted on the AGV. The value for AGV use case is that we can see that 5G will make it without man driving. So the cost saving is great. And without man driving, the security risk is low. Also for the efficiency, using the camera and AI identification, remote control, it will be increased. And finally, we'll see the fourth use case is called the video surveillance. Actually, it also is AI enabled. Actually, some of the use cases using video surveillance and AI, I have introduced in the previous 3 use cases. Let us see, for example, in the smart tele use cases, we'll see that the AI will automatically analyze the video of the cargo and identify the cargo number, and then we'll check where is the next destination and make the efficiency very high. Also, for the personnel or the workers that are working in the port yard, we will use video surveillance and AI intelligent analysis to check whether the person is security is enabled. For example, the helmet, whether helmet or all the workers are weared. And also, a very important use cases is for because port, we can see that is with huge area, not only from the land, but also we are enabled the video surveillance from the air, like the drones, the technologies. Here list some of the pain points that are traditional technologies that cannot meet the smart port requirements. For example, as we know that a port, we have lots of yard. The yard, they will move as long as the goods is moving, and as long as the port, they will expansion the sites. So the heavy machine and all the equipment will move from one area to another area frequently. If we use traditional technology like fiber, because you know that we need to dig the hole to make the deployment. So it's not easy to move the telecommunication as long as the equipment are moving. But using 5G, we can easily solve the problem. Similarly, for traditional technologies like Wi-Fi don't have the issue of mobility, but it also has some limitations. For example, it's only covering a small area of the port, not the whole coverage. And also the interference of the signal is very high. So 5G totally don't have this problem. So for video surveillance and AI technology, here is the solution. We can have some smart terminals available. For example, the fixed camera, we will with 5G communication module to enable the camera into a smart 5G camera. And also an integrated 5G smart camera is already available. Similarly, with a drone, with Tech 5G enabled. And with all these 5G terminals and together with the video surveillance AI intelligence analysis center, we can together to make the port video surveillance more smart. Here's a value that brought by the video surveillance and the smart AI. As I said before, the fiber-based CCTV is fixed, and with 5G, CCTV is mobile. So the benefit is that we can greatly decrease the capex, and also similarly by OPEX, because 5G don't have so many fixed equipments. All of them are mobile and easy to maintain. And also the 5G equipment, not like the fiber, it can be maintained by operators, not by the port. So the port itself can greatly decrease the OPEX, and also flexible deployment, both from sea, land, and air. And also with AI enabled, the intelligence and automation can be achieved. So here are all the four major use cases that we have been very maturely deployed, especially in China. As I just said in the opening video, that the Mawan port in Shenzhen, actually all the smart port in China, where from last year, we have tens of smart ports already commercially deployed. Most of them are supported by Huawei. And this year, we're going to copy the use cases to more ports, maybe 20 to 30 smart ports in China. And in the overseas, we are also cooperating with some port owners, namely actually in Oman ports, we are also with some good cooperating now. Finally, I will simply talk about the business model and some value that have to be summarized for the 5G smart port. Here a summary of the 5G use cases I have just introduced about the smart port, smart tele, RTG remote control, AGV, and all these AI and drones. And there are major benefits for the port owner is that it can greatly decrease the ports. Here we give us an example. For example, 1 kilometer coastline, we can decrease at least $12 million US. This cost is composed of, for example, the hardware equipments and some human resources saving. And besides the cost saving, we can also see that with all the use cases and technology, we can greatly increase the operation efficiency of the port. That can increase the revenue of the port. So this is from the point of view of the port owners. Another very important participant in this business model is that for the operators. Operators, we can also share some revenue increase from the investment, the investment by the port owners, because as I said, port owners they decreased their saving their cost. So, but they can spend a very tiny amount of money. For example, 2 million. Only one of 6 of the cost they are saving that can be invested in the telecommunication. For example, 5G smart port. This telecommunication investment is composed of some components like the basic network setup fee and 5G use cases as a service, and operators can also have a yearly maintenance fee. This is a good. We summarize it as a win-win business model and for long-term cooperation. And finally, we share some experience for the whole industry chain. We can see that during the past 2 years, from Huawei experience, we can summarize the participants into 3 categories, namely major 3. One is port owners, as I just said, and secondly is operators that provide the telecommunication services to the port. And besides that, for example, some telecommunication equipment maker like Huawei, we provide some 5G equipment. We stand beside the operators. Besides that, most importantly, we see that is the system integrator. Because as you can see, that in a typical smart port or a traditional port, we have lots of equipment providers like camera vendor, like the programmable logical controller vendor, which is a supplier for the smart control, and also for some 5G module like the CPE, customer premise equipment, and some dongles, Wi-Fi, all these terminal equipments. And most importantly, we can see that the heavy equipment maker, for example, here lists a very leading company named ZTMC, which is almost occupying, for example, 70% of the market in China, and also is leading in global heavy machine supply market. Most importantly is that this heavy equipment supplier, he can provide all the use cases integration, not only from itself can provide heavy equipments. Heavy equipments need to make some remodeling and reconstruction to support these use cases. So we think that this heavy machine supplier is the best role to do the system integrator for the smart port business. It can integrate all the small vendors and suppliers that can also integrate the telecommunication service. For example, China Mobile is also stand behind the ZPMC to provide the end-to-end 5G service for the port. Okay, here that's all what I'm sharing for the 5G use cases for smart port. And I would like to listen to your voice and suggestions. Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much, James, for your presentation. Now, if you have questions, I would request the audience to ask them. You can type the questions in the Q&A panel, and I can read it out to James so he can answer them to you all. James, till the audience type the question, if I can ask you, is there kind of more work you'd be doing in Oman? Do you have some prospects in the logistics area?
Okay. Firstly, for Oman port, actually, I think we started the cooperating from at least early last year. Actually, from the RTG Remote Control, as I just said, is very mature, and Oman port is I think is cooperating now. For other use cases, for smart tele and AGV, to be honest, that two use cases is not as mature as the remote control. For details, I need to check with our Oman local office.
Sure.
Okay.
There's a question here. Do you offer all the services as one package or in modules?
Okay. You mean from Huawei's point of view?
Yes,
Huawei can offer?
your offer. Do you do like modules if they want small modules, or everything has to be in one package?
You mean modules? You mean, for example, terminals, right? Terminals.
No, as your soft support.
Okay. Let me go back to the page of the business model. As you can see that from Huawei here, in the right corner, we provide majorly three equipments or service that related to these equipments. Firstly, you know that the 5G, Huawei is one of the leading 5G main equipments provider, like the base station, the core network, etc. Of course, the service related to that for the business scenario, we will also provide. Secondly is MEC. MEC, as you know, is a mobile edge computing. As I just said, in some use cases, for example, the video surveillance, the AI. These use cases, we need a platform, mobile edge controller computing platform to support this. Huawei, we also have this platform available. And actually, both for 5G network and MEC platform, these are from the network point of view. For terminal point of view, Huawei use, as you see that we have the CPE available, which is customer premise equipment. This CPE is a terminal that can transfer the 5G signal into network, and we can provide that. Also, similarly, for some other terminals, like like dongle, MiFi, and other, especially as what we are talking about is in the to-B business. To-B business, to be honest, is very flexible, not like the consumer markets. Consumer markets, for example, Huawei, we have consumer business. We can provide standard products, which is huge quantities. And actually the models and the model numbers is not too huge. But to be business is totally different. Each business for smart port, smart grid, smart factory, smart car manufacturing, all these different industries, they require different terminal requirements. So what we suggest that normally for each business, we will suggest some industry partners. You can see that here we list the 5G module. This can be provided by very abundant industry partners. They can provide this. Okay, is my answer to your question?
I think, yeah. There's another question from the audience. It's very similar. Which port in Oman is using your services?
Sorry, can you copy?
Which port in Oman is using your services? Are you working with any port here in Oman is the question.
As long as I know, we are working with the largest port in Oman.
That should be the Salalah port.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So that's the question. I
okay.
think.
By the way, we will check with the local office and provide you the ports that we are cooperating now. Give you the port list. Okay.
That's very useful. So
okay.
I think we don't have any more questions. We'll wait for another minute to see if any of the participants have a question to ask you.
Okay.
Do you want to say anything? Okay, there's a question which came up. Is it possible to integrate the 5G port application with non-Chinese providers? Means any other product.
Can I ask from which domain are you talking about? You're talking about 5G main equipment, like 5G base station?
Umaima, you hear that? Do you want to type out the answer?
Yeah, non-Chinese company. Which domain are you talking about? We have a lot of partners here listed, right? Okay, let me answer the question from my understanding. Maybe it's not correct. Okay, firstly, as I said, from Huawei's point of view, for the industries, 5G modules, the camera, all these terminal equipments, we also suggested that the more the vendors, the better, because we want to make the 5G to be more successful in each domain. So we strongly suggested that all suppliers, if you have the capabilities, you can join. Actually, it's not. We are also doing like this in most of the Chinese 5G use cases or projects. Even Huawei involved. We also invited lots of small suppliers to provide their equipment and terminals. And as you might also know that Huawei, how to do this? We have dedicated established a lab called Open Lab. This Open Lab, the purpose is to introduce more vendors to join the to-B business, and we invite them to provide their terminals into our laboratory to make the validation test. And after the validation, we are introduced to the industries. This is from the terminal's point of view. From main equipment's point of view, what I can say is only that Huawei is a actually is leading in the 5G. Actually, is absolutely leading, as you know from some third-party statistic that our 5G technology is the most leading. But for some markets, I think you also know that some other vendors, they are also trying to engage in the 5G to B business. I think more suppliers support to B is more better. Okay.
Right. James, are you able to read the Q&A? There are some more threads which have come up related to this question.
Okay. Regarding the drone usage, is it going to be automated or manual operated? Okay, actually, for drone, both of these two are supported in a very simple way. For example, just a video patrol in the port, I think is no need for the automated. You can use a manual drone operator that can manually doing this is enough. But as we see, the trend is that not only in the port, but also, for example, in a smart grid, we can see that smart grid, the scenario, the grid, especially, for example, especially in big country like China, the smart grid, we have the transmission segment. Transmission line maybe is 100 or tens of thousands of kilometers. For the drone, we need a drone to fly through the transmission line to check the safety and quality of the transmission line. So in this scenario, if we are using manual drone flying, it will be a huge task. So in this scenario, we already in smart grid scenario, we already deployed the automatic drone application. Similarly, for the ports, from my understanding, port we also need an automated way, because it is not a one-time task. It is 365 days per year, 24/7. Each day we need an automatic drone patrol. So the automatic is a necessary solution. As long as the solution for drone, as I said, it is not as mature as RTG, remote control, but it is already being hugely deployed in lots of to-B business use cases. The technology behind that is that we can use the, as you know, that for the traditional positioning technology like a GPS, okay? But except that, using 5G we can use the 5G base station positioning, which is more accurate and more timely sensitive. So not only for a line scenario, but also for an area. For example, here is a port. Maybe 1 kilometer by 1 kilometer square meters. We can have an AI enabled or computer enabled to make the automatically planning for the terminals to automatically flying. Okay.
Excellent. Thank you so much, James.
Okay. Welcome.
One last question I have from my side, and then we can close. What about airports? Is it only for ports, or do you also have a similar kind of solution for airports?
Okay. Here today, I only introduced about the smart port because time is limited. But
yes,
I'm understanding, as you said, why you're asking about the airport, because it's a session about the smart logistic, right, and mobility. Airport is, I think, is also belonging to this big scenario. Actually, for Huawei 5G to B business, we are we are focusing a lot of major domains. Like I just mentioned some of them. Here, smart ports and also smart grid, the electricity, and smart manufacturing, smart car, smart oil. Smart oil is, you know, that today we have another session that introduced in COMEX. We have another colleague, right?
Yes.
And oil and gas is a very popularity and attractive business in Middle East. Huawei is investing hugely in this business. We have lots of related solution and use cases, similarly like SmartPort. And others, I will not name all of them. Talking about the smart airport. We have actually, from my understanding, it has two major use cases. One use case is for the cargo. Similarly, airport have lots of cargo, like the shipments in the seaport. Similarly, it has a similar solution, but maybe not the fully same, because we have cranes here available, right? But in the airport, we don't have cranes. We have other scenarios. But for example, AGV, we have airport is available. And the smart tele is also applicable in the airport scenario. Okay, and other scenarios for the cargo. Another scenario is for people. You see that airport, two main business. One is for cargo transfer, another is for human transfer. For people, we are focusing on the smart port. Actually, most of the use cases is the AI people identification. For example, for the passenger, the first moment you enter the airport, you're traveling through the airport, and you are checking the luggage, and also you're checking the flight time, and finally you will go to the boarding gate. All this during the people's journey with AI-enabled technology and 5G supportedness will make it into automatically. For example, you don't need to show your ID card to in every channel, even in the boarding gate. The AI-enabled camera will automatically identify who you are, where's your destination, which your flight is, what's the weather, what's the flight time related to your flight. Everything is very smooth without any human interference. Huawei has similar solutions for this. Due to time limits, I don't have the time to introduce your details. Hopefully, next time we will have more discussion on smartphone.
Thank you. Thank you, James. Thank you so much. Thank you, audience. It was really nice to hear what you had to show in the videos and what you had to say. We look forward to more. Thank you so much. And this is the end of today's session. If you want to see this again, the video, and if you want to share it with your colleagues, we will put it on the COMEX YouTube channel. And of course, you can contact James through the local office here, and they'll be happy to answer any questions. Thank you so much, James, and thank you so much, the audience. Have a good day. Bye-bye.